Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into what might be the single most crucial step between getting a script and actually rolling camera, storyboarding.
That's right.
You often hear it called like a comic book for the film, but honestly, that title, it kind of undersells the technical and even financial weight these drawings carry.
It really does.
Our mission today is to explore storyboarding as this essential pre-production practice that really locks in a film's entire aesthetic, its visual vibe, you know.
Absolutely. It's that moment where the script, which is still theoretical, stops being just words on a page and starts becoming something, well, measurable.
Tangible.
Tangible.
Yeah.
Storyboarding is truly where the director's vision starts taking concrete visual form. It's really the non-negotiable bridge between the text and what ends up on screen. If you want genuine, precise control over your film's look, its feel, its narrative rhythm, this is the tool you absolutely have to master. It's foundational.
Okay, so if we're moving past that simple series of drawings definition, let's talk about what this document actually does. What's its function? Because a storyboard isn't just pictures in a row, right? It's more like a technical contract.
Exactly.
It comes packed with notes on dialogue, technical details, timing.
Precisely. Each panel, each little drawing, it represents a specific shot or maybe a key moment within a shot. We call this pre-visualization.
Pre-visualization.
Yeah. And its main power, really, is consistency. It brings the written word to life visually, which is critical because it forces everyone to agree on the desired aesthetic beforehand.
Oh, okay.
So everyone, the production designer thinking about colors, the sound mixer planning the audio landscape, the actor hitting their mark, they're all working towards the exact same visual goal. It's defined.
That immediately tackles that huge challenge of communication on a film set. I mean, you can have dozens, sometimes hundreds of people involved.
Oh, easily.
So the storyboard becomes this kind of universal visual language. It ensures everyone is, well, rowing in the same direction.
Exactly. And that consistency, it translates directly into efficiency and, maybe most importantly, cost control.
Right. The money.
The big insight here isn't just that storyboards save money, though they do, it's how. They let you basically shoot the film on paper first.
Shoot it on paper. I like that.
You can spot tricky camera moves, logistical headaches, maybe coverage choices that just aren't working. Before you're standing on a set that costs, thousands per hour, you're essentially mitigating chaos by enforcing control early on.
That's fascinating, this idea of enforcing control. But does that kind of precise pre-planning ever, I don't know, stifle creativity? Does it lead to less spontaneity on the day? Doesn't it sort of handcuff the DP or the actors?
It's counterintuitive, but it often does the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. By establishing the visual argument up front, like this scene needs 5 close-ups, a specific dolly shot, and it has to last exactly 20 seconds. It actually frees up the crew and the director.
How so?
Well, they can then focus their creative energy on the finer details, the performance, the nuances. You're not wasting precious time on set debating basic framing. You're executing a well-thought-out plan.
Okay, I see.
This level of control actually allows for more calculated, high-stakes improvisation because you already know precisely where your visual boundaries are. You know the structure.
And we shouldn't overlook the financial angle you mentioned. When you're pitching a project, trying to get support from a studio or investors, showing them a detailed storyboard must do more than just illustrate the plot.
Oh, absolutely. It demonstrates preparedness, massively. A script, that's a promise, an idea. But a storyboard, that's an executable plan.
Right, the proof of concept.
Exactly. It shows that you, as the director, have already wrestled with and solved the visual problems baked into the script. It proves that those ambitious, maybe expensive-looking sequences are not just visionary, but actually feasible. It elevates the whole conversation from, is this story any good? To, okay, we see exactly how you plan to execute this.
Okay, let's unpack this blueprint idea a bit more then.
Yeah.
We've established that, being a great artist isn't the point here. Functionality is key.
Right.
So what turns a quick sketch, maybe even just stick figures, into a functional professional instruction manual for the set?
Yeah.
What are the essential bits of information that absolutely have to be included?
Okay, yeah. You basically need 7 essential data points to make that drawing truly functional as a shot plan. First, obviously, the drawing itself.
The picture.
The sketch, yeah. It defines the framing, the composition. Is the character huge in the foreground? Are they tiny against this vast landscape? That kind of thing.
That framing immediately sets up the spatial relationships, the power dynamics, maybe.
Exactly. Then second and third, you need sequential shot number and scene number.
Yeah.
Just for basic organization, easy reference back to the script, the call sheets. Makes life easier for everyone.
Standard stuff. Okay.
Fourth, the really crucial technical info. Clear notes or arrows showing camera movement. This tells the grip department, the camera operator, are we doing a fast tilt, a slow creeping pan, a complex crane move?
And if it is a complex move, like a crane shot, that little arrow dictates immediate needs on set. We need the crane, we need the track stabilizers.
Precisely. That arrow translates directly into equipment and time. Fifth, you need the relevant snippet of dialogue or action, what's actually happening in this shot. Sixth, any important sound music cues. Is there a gunshot? Is this where the score needs to swell dramatically?
Got it. Sound design starts here too.
It can, yeah. And finally, seventh, the special effects, the effects note. This is so important because even if that effect is being added 6 months down the line in post-production,
Right.
the crew filming today needs to know, where should the lighting be focused? Where do the actors need to direct their eyeline for something that isn't there yet?
That's a really key point. You're essentially communicating the final, maybe currently invisible image to the entire team on the day. So you mentioned the workflow involves breaking the script down into necessary shots first. Once we have this sequence of panels, what's the final check, the last step before locking it all in?
Well, the really critical final step, I'd say, is creating and reviewing the animatic.
Okay, animatic. For listeners who maybe haven't come across that term before, what exactly is an animatic? How's it different from just flicking through a stack of storyboard panels?
The key difference is time and sound.
Oh, okay.
An animatic takes those static storyboard panels, puts them into a video editing timeline, and then matches them up with rock sound effects, maybe scratch dialogue recordings, even temp music tracks. It's like a very, very crude animated draft of the film.
Like a moving storyboard.
Pretty much. And this lets the director and the editor test the narrative tempo, the rhythm of the cuts, how the visual transitions feel. You can instantly see if a scene feels like it's dragging, or maybe if the emotional beats are landing too quickly, too abruptly.
Okay, so for example, if I sketch a wide shot of a character looking upset, and I put down 10 seconds for the duration,
Right.
seeing that in the animatic tells me immediately if that 10 seconds feels dramatically effective, or if maybe the audience will just get bored after 5.
Precisely. That 10-second duration on a wide static shot, it usually implies something like contemplation or maybe an oppressive atmosphere. If your intention was frantic tension, you'd probably need, say, a 2-second duration on a really tight close-up instead.
Gotcha.
That time element, married to the shot choice, dictates the whole feeling. So the animatic review helps you catch common mistakes like unclear transitions between shots, or maybe sequences that feel visually repetitive. You iron out the kinks.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. We've been talking about storyboarding as this very functional, practical tool, almost like logistics. But the truth is, some of the most visually distinct, most aesthetically memorable films in history rely heavily on this process, right? And it applies whether you're making some massive VFX blockbuster or a really intimate, quiet drama.
Oh, the history totally confirms it. I mean, storyboarding was absolutely essential for the sheer logistical scale of epics like Gone with the Wind or Ben-Hur. Back then, it was the only way to even conceive of executing those massive sequences.
Right, planning those huge crowd scenes.
Exactly. But think about directors known today for their hyper-specific, crystal-clear visual aesthetics, especially in action.
Spielberg comes to mind immediately. His action sequences, whether it's like a chaotic chase in Indiana Jones or that T-Rex attack in Jurassic Park, they're always perfectly clear. You always know exactly where you are spatially.
And that legibility, that clarity, it absolutely starts with simple, clear storyboards. Spielberg uses them meticulously to define those spatial relationships, ensuring the audience never gets lost, even when things are moving incredibly fast.
Makes sense.
But then compare that to someone like Martin Scorsese. He uses storyboards extensively, too, even in non-action films like Goodfellas or Raging Bull.
Right, which aren't about giant dinosaurs.
Exactly. For Scorsese, it's often less about action clarity and more about dictating the narrative tempo. Those famous hyper-quick cuts contrasted with long, fluid takes, that unique cinematic rhythm that defines his work, that's planned in the boards.
So he's literally using the duration notes and the planned cut points on the storyboards to establish that kind of frantic energy or that slow burn.
Absolutely. And going back to that financial aspect we touched on the storyboard as the blueprint, the sales pitch, take Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope.
Oh, interesting example.
George Lucas was famously struggling, right? Trying
Yeah,
to convey this incredibly complex kind of out there space opera vision to 20th Century Fox. Apparently, they found the script pretty chaotic.
I can imagine.
It was the detailed storyboards, largely created by Joe Johnston, that provided the crucial visual proof. They showed the control. That's what convinced the skeptical studio executives that this crazy, ambitious film could actually be pulled off. The storyboards literally helped secure the funding and the belief in the project.
Wow. That's a perfect example of the storyboard acting as that visual contrast we talked about. And I assume this same demand for intense pre-visualization is just as strong, if not stronger, for modern complex VFX films.
Mhm.
Thinking about something like the gravity-defying hotel fight in Inception,
Oh, definitely.
or the insane kinetic choreography of Mad Max Fury Road.
In those kinds of high-stakes situations, you simply cannot improvise the core structure. Every single frame, every camera movement often has to be meticulously mapped out way in advance to accommodate the complex effects work or the dangerous practical stunts. Storyboarding isn't some creative hurdle you have to get over. It's the creative foundation. It ensures the director's intended aesthetic, that visual argument, that vibe gets translated faithfully to the screen, no matter how big or small the scale. It really is practical, crucial, and it's the definition of a director maintaining ultimate visual control. Hashtag tag tag outro.
So let's try and wrap this deep dive up. Storyboarding, it seems, is this incredibly practical, absolutely crucial, but also highly creative process. It provides the necessary visual language, that technical blueprint, for everyone involved in making a film.
Mm-hmm.
And by forcing those key visual and timing decisions really early in the process, it acts as the director's ultimate tool for imposing control over what can be a pretty chaotic filmmaking environment, which in the end saves significant time and money.
So what does this all really mean for you? I think the enduring power of storyboarding lies in its unique ability to capture and then enforce the film's intended atmosphere, its aesthetic flow. It marks that definitive shift from just thinking in abstract words on a page to thinking purely in cinematic terms, shots, angles, movement, time, visual relationships.
And for you, the listener, we have a little challenge, a takeaway thought. Try this. Take a scene from any script you really admire. Maybe it's a high-tension moment from a thriller, or perhaps a quiet, emotional beat from a drama.
Yeah.
Now, ignore the dialogue completely. Just forget the words. And try to visualize that sequence panel by panel using only simple stick figures and basic directional notes. An arrow for a pan, a note for a tilt, maybe a line for a dolly track.
Keep it super simple.
Super simple. The question is, can the core emotional tone, the scene's visual argument, its cinematic rhythm, can all that be understood just from those basic drawings and technical notes alone without any dialogue?
It's a fantastic exercise, actually. It forces you to learn to think visually first, completely divorced from the dialogue. If you can basically make a coherent, emotionally resonant, silent film just with your rough panels, then you've really grasped the fundamental power of the storyboard.
A great challenge. Thanks for diving deep with us today.